Welcome everybody. I'm Julian McNally from the Active Living in Melbourne, and I'm here with Dr. Matthew Smout from University of South Australia. I've got that affiliation right, haven't I?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. And we're both looking forward to training you if you'd like to come along to the Sydney Skills Intensive that ANZ ACDS is running in Sydney, of course, this February the 1st and 2nd. So I wanted to take the opportunity to ask Matthew a few questions about what he's got planned for us in the workshop. So thanks for joining us, Matt. And I guess first up, I wanted to find out your take on this question, because there's a lot of ACT training around in the world these days. You can get it online. You can go down to your local pub sometimes. Yeah. You can do workshops all over Australia and internationally. What do you think this intensive is going to offer, say, an experienced ACT practitioner that they might not get elsewhere?
Well, I hope that I know that the four of us have been practicing in an Australian context for a long time now. I know my involvement with that goes back to more than 15 years, and I'm pretty sure yours and Julie's does at least too. So I feel like, we're primarily practitioners, we're not researchers or trainers predominantly. So we've got a lot of flying hours up our sleeves. So I think we've kind of road tested the difference between ideas that sound good and that work well, kind of canned workshop type activities, and we kind of know what works with real clients. So I'm hoping it's a chance that people have been exposed to the concepts of ACT and have been trying this stuff out themselves and perhaps facing some challenges that everyone goes through, to draw on some experienced people for their ideas, maybe problem solve some things together and work on our formulations and troubleshooting, staying inside the model without drifting off and finding a new therapy.
No, not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, you don't want
It's good to explore, but it's good to know how to solve the problems within the framework that you start off with, I think, as well. So yeah, I hope that's what we can help people do.
Yeah, now I don't think that was false humility on your part, that you didn't emphasize that you have actually been a researcher, but as part of that have run trials with ACT protocols. So it's like you've also seen that end of ACT, training, I guess, often novice practitioners how to do ACT and be faithful to the model, like really faithful.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Get the rough and dirty model that you sometimes have to do in clinical practice.
Yeah. No, I think all four of us have tried to do ACT with good fidelity, and certainly I know we've all been to lots and lots of workshops over many, many years and got input from lots and lots of trainers. So I guess that's the other advantage to working with us, is that we've drawn on the collective wisdom of the ACT community as it's been disseminating its work over the last few years. And so I guess if you have maybe been to workshops with maybe one or two trainers, it's a chance to get exposed to other takes and styles and how these concepts are put into practice, and how a broader range of people, again, working in contexts that are perhaps a bit more like yours, if you're coming along, have sort of applied it and managed to make this work, and seeing the kind of problems that you might struggle with, or even sometimes just, I think, to know that you're on the right track, to walk away from a workshop going, okay, I wasn't crazy. This is how it looks. This is how it works. Everyone goes through this. That can be really affirming and keep people sort of, optimistic and keeping on working with the model.
Yeah, right. Hey, something else that you alluded to there. You're talking about this sort of in the field frontline experience that we've got. And I'm assuming that you, like me, you've done a lot of supervision, so you probably welcome people who come along to this workshop asking some of the tough questions, like maybe they wouldn't ask their supervisor, because you've got to look after that relationship, whereas, you've only got us for 2 days, you could ask anything, and I think we'll do our best to answer it, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. And we want people that are ready to think things through and to I guess workshops are a great place to reflect on your practice, examine the way you've been working, examine your assumptions, get input from other people, and hopefully go away kind of clear about what your own understanding and take on this material is and how it's going to work in your practice, as opposed to feeling like you're always trying to do things according to someone else's expectations or a right way.
Yeah. Look, I know one of the things that a lot of the people I train or supervise, but also, through conversations on listservs and so on, come across is people either don't get what functional analysis is or don't get how to do it, or only get one model of how to do it. That seems like that's going to be the focus of the section of the workshop that you're running, although we'll all speak to it. But wonder if you could say a bit about like what you're offering in what you bring to the workshop.
Yeah, thanks. I'm hoping that, I know that functional analysis is, everyone kind of knows it's a really important technique that, everyone alludes to it, but it takes quite a lot of time to walk through and practice and get better at it. And so it's hard for people to become fluent and proficient in it if they're only exposed to it and kind of brief grabs. And so hopefully we'll have a chance to slow down, walk through lots of examples, and also for me to give people a couple of concepts or ideas about ways to kind of focus their attention when they're asking their questions, and so they know what to look for, and kind of linking that back to a broader case conceptualization. I'm probably preempting another question you're going to ask, but I think, case conceptualization kind of works on at least two levels, if you like: a macro level, which is kind of a big sort of bird's eye overview of a person's patterns and why they've come into therapy, and then in order to try and get somewhere in that, order to both inform that bigger picture understanding of the person, and also to apply particular changes, you want to then drill down to a more micro level, and functional analysis is kind of the tool for that. Of course, you can in a sense do functional analysis at multiple levels, but without getting too confusing about it. One of the things I hope to help people with is that flexibility of switching between that micro and macro level, and using functional analysis sort of strategically and intentionally, so that they're using their time well, because functional analysis takes a lot of time, and so you don't want to be kind of chewing through too many clock hours, in peripheral topics. But at the same time, of course, you need to know when you want to drill down deeper, and so we'll cover a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that about it working at a few levels, because I've got to say for myself, that's often where I get confused. So I'll probably be sitting in the crowd taking notes at that part of the workshop.
I'd be surprised, but I don't know if I could teach you anything, Julian. But I think all of these skills are difficult. This is unlike I guess some professions where you kind of maybe learn a body of knowledge and just disseminate it. These are more like active skills that we have to keep practicing. It's more like playing the piano or the violin or something. You can't just kind of run through a series of lessons and then think, right, now I'm a great pianist, I'm just going to keep at this level. We have to keep practicing and being active to stay on a game. And so I guess that's another good reason to come to this workshop. Even if you feel like you know the content, even if you feel like you're familiar with it, you think of this more like pre-season training for next year's psychotherapy.
Yeah. No, nice way to put it, and it reminds me of a lot of that literature that's gotten big recently because of people like Scott Miller and so on, about deliberate practice, right? Actually practicing case formulation and functional analysis skills.
Exactly.
Just got it in my head, read the book, and so that kind of does lead me to the next question, though, which is topics like functional analysis and case conceptualization. You can read books about it. So how is this going to be different to reading the book? Like, is it going to be Dr. Matthew Smout sort of saying what it would be in his book if he wrote one?
Yeah, no, I'm probably not. I don't really want to reinvent the wheel. There are great books out there. In fact, of all approaches, I think ACT has got a library that really ought to do it for a good. If we could probably stop making books right now and just give ourselves 10 years to catch up and read them all. But I'm more interested in helping people kind of use whatever tools they've already got available at their disposal, I suppose, and use them to the best of their ability and get fluent and apply them with a clear sense of purpose. So I think the role of a workshop is for it to be interactive rather than didactic. These days we could just make a YouTube clip in 3 minutes and stick that up, and that would be a much more convenient and entertaining way for people just to be talked to. I think if you're coming to a workshop, you want to interact with the presenter and your fellow attendees, and share information and go beyond the static thing that's in print. I mean, I might speak for any other authors, but it's always possible, to pull the one case that really went smoothly and beautifully and make that the model to which we all aspire. But anyone who's worked in the field knows what real people are like. They're way more complicated like that, and they don't come pre-organized. We have to do that organizational.
That's right.
Work. So I think having a forum where people can work through from the messy real life presentation into that elegant form is kind of the skills that we're trying to cultivate and walk people through. So hopefully they'll get that out of it.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Now the next question I have, and this is a similar question that I asked Rachel Collis, and that's available in another video. If you sort of look to the end of this video, you'll find a link to that there. And that is this, that like we've all had that experience of going along to a 2-day workshop, getting really enthused, learning some skills, making friendships, all that kind of thing. And it's fantastic when you're doing it there at the workshop, but then how do you actually get to develop that skill, when you're back in the office like 2 or 3 months later and you're feeling lost? Like, well, how do you get yourself unstuck, and how do you continue developing the skill? So do you have, I don't want you to answer that whole question now, it's a big question, but will you be bringing something to the workshop that will give people the opportunity to be able to do that?
Well, that's a great point. Really, and in close to my heart too, I think that how do we set up our work practices and our life work balance to allow us to continue to kind of reflect productively and maintain good habits. So that's a good challenge you've laid down for myself and perhaps the other presenters. We should definitely cover that and maybe interact with the attendees too to see how they would like to feel supported in a more ongoing way.
Yeah. Might just reflect my prejudice that like I've invested a lot of money in all these workshops, but the numbers that I can count, I took something away and I still use it. Not so many, but yeah, I'll have some ideas on that and I'll present them as well. Look, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to ask you, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time or the people who are viewing this. But I did want to mention to people watching this video, and Matt was saying just then that idea of developing the skills is something close to his heart. You can learn a lot more about that by checking out Matthew's blog, which is at what site?
drmatthewsmout.com. Thanks.
Very easy.
Thanks for plugging that for me, Julian.
That's okay. Look, I haven't been there recently or late, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it. It's one of my things. Well worth finding the time to read the articles in there and actually put them into practice. So thank you very much for today. And if you're interested in what we've discussed and want to learn more, you can do that in Sydney on February 1st and 2nd, 2020. Go to anzac.com and register at the website. Thank you again, Matthew.
Thanks, Julian. Look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, see you there.
Cheers.